I can't wear a beard. I've always been jealous of that. Why don't we live in a world where women and men have beards?
Every day.
Well, it would be actually really unhealthy if I could grow a beard. As it's actually hormonal disorder if women can grow beards. And you have to take a bunch of...
a soup catcher?
Yeah, you have to... a soup catcher. I don't know, I just think it's cool to pet your chin all the time. Not me, though. I just get acne when I do that. That's the other reason. I can hide my chin acne if I had a beard, you know? You don't even know it's there if I have a beard. But actually, it's very common for women to get chin acne.
You can be Amish. You can become Amish with one of them Amish beards.
Yeah, maybe. Well, in some positive news coming out of South Korea, they have recognized misogyny as a hate crime. This is coming off of The Independent, written by Alisha Rahman Sakar. There you go. South Korean court, for the first time, explicitly recognizes misogyny as a motive for hate crime amid a growing anti-feminist movement in East Asian country. I would call it a misogynistic movement. It's like there's a reason you have a low birth rate, and it's because the people who live in your country hate women. Not even just men, but women also hate women. There's just these people are lesser and don't deserve human rights kind of feeling in a lot of East Asian countries, unfortunately. Changwon District Court on Tuesday, which was October 15th, upheld the lower court's sentencing of a man to 3 years in jail for aggravated assault, destruction of property, and obstruction of business. The court ruled that the man's actions were rooted in a baseless hatred and bias against women, the Korean Herald reported. The man in his 20s, which is way too young to be hating on women, was arrested last November. Like, I can understand if you're like 60 years old and stuck in your ways, but like, you're 20, you're younger than me, and you think women don't deserve respect. Was arrested last November for attacking a woman he perceived to be a feminist because she had short hair. We're attacking people for hairstyles now. Since you have short hair, you must be a feminist. I'm a male chauvinist, and I think feminism should be punished, the man had said, according to the South Korean police. He reportedly kicked and punched the woman who was working at a convenience store in Jinju in South Gyeongsang Province. Okay, he also assaulted a customer, a man in his 50s, who tried to intervene. I thought we were supposed to respect our elders here, people. Why are you not taking my side? She is a feminist, the accused allegedly told the customer. The accused continued the assault until he was stopped by police after they arrived on the scene to find him in a drunken state. The woman suffered serious ligament injuries and hearing impairment, while the male customer suffered fractures to the face and shoulder. The attacker hit him with a chair. Okay, but this guy needs to be put away for the safety of everyone. The accused later pleaded guilty, but claimed he was in a state of mental and physical weakness. Yeah, he was drunk. But you know what they say when you're drunk? Just reveals who you truly are. In this case, you might go murdering women because they're feminists at some point. The defendant repeatedly declared feminists deserve to be hit, while attacking the female clerk and questioning the intervening male victim by asking, "Why aren't you siding with a fellow man?" indicating a misogynistic motive, the court said. South Korean women wearing short hair have been targeted by men who consider them to be feminist, a term often confused with misandry. Also, maybe this is attributed to the idea that women are supposed to have long hair, so if you go against this social expectation, you get attacked by men. When archer Ahn San won 3 gold medals at the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, men back home were busy criticizing her short hair. Yeah, because nothing's better than getting your bow stuck in your long hair. To counter the growing criticism of Miss Ahn online, many South Korean women, including politicians and celebrities, posted messages and photos of their own cropped hair to support the athlete. Tragic. South Korea ranks poorly for gender equality. Wow, I'm so surprised. Among advanced nations. The country has the worst gender pay gap among all of the OECD countries and is consistently ranked the bottom of the Economist's Glass Ceiling Index, which assesses the extent to which women experience equal treatment in the workplace. Yeah, stories I hear is that a lot of Korean women and also Japanese women are expected to be getting coffee for everybody. Even if you have the same exact job as everyone in the meeting, as a woman, you have to be serving coffee, even though you're actually there to be talking about the meeting. How are we going to build this bridge or whatever. Instead of discussing, we should build the bridge like this, or here's my idea. No, you have to go get coffee and serve all of us men, while we talk about this important business. A lot of women are basically treated like diversity hires, right? Oh, you're just here so we can say we hired a woman, but you're not actually supposed to be working for your degree that you probably went to school for 8 years for. That's ridiculous. You're a woman. Serve me coffee. South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol, 62, disavowed the label of a feminist when he was running for office. He had previously insinuated that feminism was responsible for the abysmal birth rate. Yeah, because they decided, hey, wait, we're the ones having children here. Let's just stop doing it. In a way, it is the feminism's problem. Wait, these guys don't respect us? Why are we letting them have sex with us? Which is currently world's lowest and has left the Cajun country facing a demographic collapse. Time to start importing immigrants or treating women better. I think the immigration thing's going to happen before they try to start. It's going to take a whole overhaul of society in order to reverse the abysmal treatment of women in Korea. That's my first story about that. Let's go to another goofy story. If you own a fire station and think, hey, maybe we don't need to put fire alarms in there because, hey, it's a fire station. Well, this German fire station has discovered that you definitely need to put fire alarms in them. This is coming out of Berlin on AP News by, I'm not sure who it's by. I guess it's not by anybody. Not by anyone. Okay. By Mystery Rider, a brand new fire station in Germany, which was destroyed in a fire, causing millions of euros in damage, and destroyed equipment that did not have a fire alarm system, local media reported yesterday, which was October 17th. The fire broke out on early October 16th, which was Wednesday morning, at the Stad Tallendorf State Fire Station in Hesse, and destroyed, among other things, the equipment hall and almost a dozen emergency vehicles, German news agency DPA reported. Initial estimates put the damage at between 20 million and 24 million euros, or 21 million to 26 million dollars. No one was injured. Well, that's great. I'm glad to hear. Local officials told DPA that no fire alarm system was installed in the building because experts had considered it not necessary, much to the astonishment of many observers now that the station has burned down. The fire broke out at an emergency vehicle belonging to the fire department, which contained lithium-ion batteries and an external power connection. The station opened less than a year ago, local media reported. Yeah, you gotta keep your eyes on those lithium-ion battery explosions or fires. They're not really explosions. That would be worse. But yeah, looks like a spark happened or a broken circuit occurred and caught on fire because of an external power connection.
A hot old time.
Yeah, I believe that's what happened will make many people think and act about improving fire protection requirements at fire stations. Norbert Fischer, the head of the State Fire Brigade Association of the state of Hesse, told the DPA. Precisely because there is a lot of technology in fire stations and batteries are being charged, it would make sense to equip them with a fire alarm, Fischer said, noting it was unclear whether such a system could have prevented the worst in Stad Tallendorf. This fire spread at a breakneck speed, he said. So, by the time I think the fire alarm went off, it probably would have been unmanageable and it still would have burned the house down. As any fire station worker knows or fireman knows, sometimes you gotta let the house burn down in order to save all the other houses. So, gotta get rid of the food for the fire. Unfortunately, that means, I guess, Stad Tallendorf does not have a fire station because it just burned down. And I guess they might have to build another one for tax money's expense, all because of one battery. Tragic.
Hope they had insurance.
Yeah, I'm sure they did, at least within a year.
That's what they always say about houses that burn down. Hope they have insurance.
To be fair, the Germans are very, very big fans of insurance. They have insurance for everything, travel insurance, that, you know, they love buying insurance. They have 15 insurance cards in their wallet, being like, look, I have insurance for everything. They're not going to catch me lacking. So I'm sure they had insurance, even, or maybe they thought, hey, it's not necessary to get fire insurance, because why would a fire station catch on fire? That's ridiculous. They're not immune to fire because they put them out, you know. They don't have a buff that says immune to fire. Fire station. I mean, anyone who's played SimCity knows your fire station can catch on fire. SimCity, it famously happens all the time. Oh, buildings with the fire station's on fire. It's one of the biggest jokes.
That just proves we're a simulation.
Yeah, exactly.
It's further proof, anyway.
But that's my stories. On to yours.
Okay, we're gonna go to Canada for our stories today. First story. Former Canadian Olympian, well, not necessarily all just Canada, but former Canadian Olympian charged in connection with cocaine bust alleged murders. This is from CBC, Canadian Broadcasting Company, Toronto. Former Ryan James Wedding, a former Canadian Olympic snowboarder, has been charged with running a drug trafficking ring that shipped vast amounts of cocaine across the Americas and killed several people, according to authorities on Thursday. The former Canadian Olympic snowboarder and 15 others are facing criminal charges for allegedly running a drug trafficking operation that shipped hundreds of kilograms of cocaine from Colombia to Canada and used violence, including murder, to achieve its group's goals, the U.S. Department of Justice announced on Thursday. U.S. officials said 43-year-old Ryan James Wedding, who competed for Canada in the 2002 Winter Olympics when he was based out of Coquitlam, BC, but recently had been living in Mexico, is the lead defendant in the case and is still on the run. Andrew Clark, a 34-year-old Canadian citizen who was also living in Mexico, was arrested on October 8th in Federal Bureau of Investigation announced at a Los Angeles news conference. U.S. Attorney Martin Estrada told reporters that Wedding is alleged to have led a transnational organized crime group that engaged in cocaine trafficking and murder. Instead of using the privileges that come with being an Olympic athlete to do good for people, he did the opposite, Estrada alleged. He chose to become a major drug trafficker and he chose to become a killer. Well, he chose to get people high with cocaine, to put it that way. There's two sides to every coin. Ryan James Wedding, 43, is facing multiple charges in connection with a drug smuggling investigation. Okay. There's your story on that. It says the group was ruthless in violence. Wedding would contract the killings of anyone who got in his way of his criminal enterprise, Estrada said. The agent. Is the name of the agent, Estrada. Some of the alleged victims of Wedding's organization were from Canada, including two whom investigators believe were innocent civilians. So his name is Wedding. That's interesting. So he's alleged to be a cocaine mastermind. In other Canada and I guess in the U.S. and Indian news, we have a story from the Indian Express because we're gonna get this story from the country that's been accused of all this. Let's call it subterfuge. Let's get it from their news press's point of view. This is from the IndianExpress.com. Shobhajit Roy. U.S. Canada wave red flags together. India rubbishes charges on plot against Khalistan separatists. Over the last week or so, Washington and Ottawa are learnt to have had several rounds of discussions with their Indian counterparts, which have detailed what they describe as credible information on Indian government officials' involvement in the transnational killings and plots to kill pro-Khalistan separatist figures in the U.S. and Canada, the Indian Express has learned. It was an ambush by both Americans and Canada, top officials told the Indian Express, describing the nature of the meetings. Canadian interlocutors are learnt to have, likes that word learnt, have learnt to have conveyed to the New Delhi that Indian diplomats and officials were involved in the identification and surveillance of pro-Khalistan elements in Canada. Indian government officials rejected such assertions. The Washington Post detailed one such meeting with National Security Advisor Ajit Doval in Singapore Saturday, in which a Canadian NSA Natalie Drouin, Deputy Foreign Minister David Morrison, and the top RCMP official are said to have made Ottawa's concern and disquiet known to the Indian side. The U.S. also leaning on India to investigate the links that lead to the assassination plot of Gurpatwant Singh Panun, had sounded out Delhi on possible links uncovered. In fact, the inquiry committee that was formed by the government in November last year, around the time of the U.S. indictment became public and whose composition has been kept secret, was called to the U.S. this week to share some information U.S. investigators have gathered. The U.S. State Department spokesperson in an unusual statement made it public. An Indian inquiry committee that was established to investigate activities of certain organized criminals is actively investigating the individual as identified last year in the Department of Justice indictment as an Indian government employee who directed a foil plot to assassinate a U.S. citizen in a U.S. city, in New York City. The inquiry committee will be traveling to Washington, D.C. on October 15th as part of their ongoing investigation to discuss the case, including information they have obtained and receive an update from the U.S. authorities regarding the U.S. case that is proceeding. Additionally, India has informed the United States that they are continuing their efforts to investigate other linkage of former government employee and will determine follow-up steps as necessary, the State Department spokesperson said. Hours later, the statement went missing from the U.S. State Department website. With the two plots converging and officials from two administrations reaching out across the same time, there's clear indications, sources said, that U.S. and Canada are coordinating their moves. Significantly, while India has brushed aside Ottawa's allegations, calling them absurd and politically motivated, it has taken the U.S. allegations seriously, and in its response has been much more cooperative. So, the sense in New Delhi is that the change in the levers of the U.S. administration from President Joe Biden to President Joe candidate Kamala Harris is behind the tightening of screws on the alleged Indian role in the action against pro-Khalistan separatist figures on Canadian and U.S. soil. Senior U.S. officials have long maintained that they want accountability in the Indian system and want New Delhi to fix the gaps so that similar attempts are not repeated. The sense of Washington is that while Delhi is an important strategic partner, it needs to be more careful of such adventurism. So, Indian government officials accused of assassination plots on U.S. soil and Canadian soil. It's actually kind of weird. China's been doing this kind of thing too. So, also Turkey has been doing this. So, back to you. There's your international intrigue.
Well, at least they didn't, just leave some nerve agent in somebody's house and then some person sprayed it on as perfume, like Russia did.
City park somewhere.
Yeah. It was. I guess it's an assassination season. Not only is it harvesting season, everyone's like, "Yo, this is the time. Let's start killing people we don't like, who've committed crimes."
Assassination season.
Yeah. Assassination season. All right, well,
it's like golf.
Speaking of violence, let's talk about a serious underworld mishap as 1,400 kilos of cocaine have been stolen. This is from Jan Moose on NRC. Police officers watch it with a mixture of horror and dismay. The escalating violence after the theft of 1,400 kilos of cocaine in Antwerp, which is in Belgium. A large batch, roughly worth 35 million euros to the smugglers, which is a lot of money, even in the underworld. Due to a long series of incidents across the country, firework bombs, shootings, and kidnappings, the unrest in the criminal environment has now increased to such an extent that almost all major police forces must remain alert for new violence. Het Parool reports. The situation is so confusing that it is not entirely clear which parties play a role in the conflict, besides the original thieves and the owner of the stolen cocaine. So who else is... What doesn't help is that it's now common practice to place a firework bomb at the homes of relatives or rivals. It is a miracle that there have been no fatalities yet, sighs a well-informed detective. It all starts off on August 29th of this year, when a truck with a container is pulled over near the port of Antwerp. The thieves, who according to Gazette van Antwerpen, disguised as police officers, take over the truck and take it to a warehouse to steal the cocaine. Then they send the original driver on his way. According to the Flemish newspaper, he is seriously beaten when he arrives without the valuable cargo. So they beat him up, stole his truck, put all the stuff in a warehouse, and then here you go. Good luck not getting killed when you arrive at your destination. Of course, the real question is, how did they know that 1,400 kilos of cocaine was being moved that day? It's an internal gang war. The Belgian police react alertly when a message comes in about the incident with the truck. Within 48 hours, one of the suspected thieves is arrested, a man named Zote Hakim. Police uniforms and weapons are found at his home in Antwerp. A complicating factor is that Zota Hakim is part of a group of rippers, criminals who rob drug dealers who have probably tried to steal cocaine before. Moreover, the criminals within this group are also said to be fighting among themselves. Oh man. It makes it difficult for the police to determine from which corner the violence is coming. Difficult to establish who exactly is whom. A week after the theft of the 1,400 kilos, an explosive goes off at Zota Hakim's home. Reports that some of the stolen cocaine had been offered for sale. The blocks can be recognized by an embossed logo. Lead to more violence. Also in the Netherlands. In September, firework bombs are placed in Rotterdam. In Utrecht, someone is kidnapped and abused. In response to this violence, according to one version of the story, much of the cocaine is returned to its original owners. Well, that's good, I guess. Or not good? They're still drug dealers? At the end of September, peace returns. This proves to be temporary, however, because in early October, firework bombs go off again in The Hague and Rotterdam. The police suspect they were aimed at those involved in the cocaine theft. After a series of 3 explosions in Rotterdam, a text is written on the wall in the affected homes with a spray can. Death to thieves! Another week later, on Thursday, October 11th, the violence escalates. In broad daylight, while according to AD, even police helicopters are in the air. A young man empties a Khalistan into 2 houses on Prince Hendrikstraat in Alpha on the Rhine. Aw man, not again! That's where I live near there. Alpha is famous for one thing and one thing only. The only place where a mass shooting occurred with a shot-off shotgun. And now they're going to be famous for somebody emptying a Kalashnikov into 2 houses. Nobody was killed though, luckily. Even if they are criminals, they don't deserve to be killed by the firing squad. The man escapes the police. Later that day, 2 men are arrested in Alpha with a firework bomb. A source within the Public Prosecution Service says that the violence in public spaces is reminiscent of the shooting in Amsterdam's Stadsleiderbert at the end of 2012, in which 2 people died. And that's, for them, a huge... When was this? Was this also in, I think probably what I was talking about, the Alpha shooting in, at the end of 2012. That was the beginning of a feud that claimed dozens of victims and turned the relationship within the underworld upside down. The conflict also revolved around a shipment of stolen cocaine. 200 kilos to be precise. Wow, they killed 2 people over 200. What are they going to do over 1,400? That's crazy. Let me see where this Stadsleiderbert is. Because I clicked the link and then it was like, you can't read this. Oh, it was in Amsterdam, actually. There was in 2012, somebody stole some 200 kilos and 2 people died because of it. Smuggling has changed since the conflict. back in August, and not for the better. Criminal networks rooted in the Netherlands have since become more influential on the international cocaine market. In 2010, roughly 15,000 kilos of cocaine were intercepted in ports of Antwerp and Rotterdam. In 2023, more than 100, right? So from 15,000 to 160,000 kilos have been intercepted, and that's just the ones they found. This is a tenfold increase in just over 10 years. It is estimated that 90 to 95% is distributed in Europe via the Netherlands. Well, I guess we are a drug capital thanks to, it's all due to that weed, man. There are many explanations for this growth. Also, let's be fair, the Dutch don't actually have a very harsh punishment on doing drugs. They're mostly just like, don't hurt anybody and we won't arrest you. But yeah, of course, these people are hurting people. There are many explanations for this growth, but especially relevant that Dutch criminal networks started earning much more money from cocaine smuggling after the violence in the Stadsleidenbert. That says something about the interests at stake in the market. They are very large and almost means that many people involved in cocaine smuggling and trafficking. The criminal leaders of today hardly or not at all stay in the Netherlands anymore. They are mainly in Dubai or wanted by European authorities in countries where they can hide even better. So also the owners of the 1,400 kilos of coke. So they're smuggling it, but they're obviously just letting, grunts do all the hard work. They're the ones who are getting arrested. But the actual masterminds behind it are off in a place where they can't even get extradited. What is special is that the violence is also taking place there as well. Last week, Het Parool reported that several people were kidnapped in Dubai and Morocco in September, some of whom were seriously abused, probably due to the same theft. And it didn't stop there. The story goes that the Dutch investigative authorities provided information last week that enabled the police in Dubai to prevent a kidnapping that was also linked to the stolen 1,400 kilos. According to the story, the intended victim of the kidnapping made statements about people involved in the stolen batch of cocaine. The man retracted the statement a day later, fearing new reprisals. In the specific case, it concerns representatives of a criminal network with a violent reputation. The names of those involved are circulating in the underworld, but the public prosecution service does not want answers or questions about this. The situation is too volatile, said the spokesperson. The last thing we want is to add fuel to the fire. So don't rat anyone out. If you know anything about the stolen cocaine, just keep your mouth shut. It's time to lay low and hope everything passes without any problems, because it is getting quite dangerous out there in the underworld. Not that I have to worry. I am luckily not part of the criminal underground. I'm just out here living on the overworld, I guess, instead of the underworld. And but keep safe out there, guys, and especially if you know somebody related to cocaine smuggling, I guess, because it's not safe. That's my story on the extensive underground in, I guess, Belgium and the Netherlands. On to your story.
Okay, back to the U.S. We're going to Florida, the most interesting state in the country, I guess. This is from TampaBay.com. DeSantis officials must stop threatening TV stations over abortion ads, judge rules. This is Lawrence Moyer of TampaBay.com. A federal judge ordered Governor Ron DeSantis, state health departments, to stop threatening television stations with criminal prosecution if they keep running ads in favor of an abortion amendment on the ballot next month. In a sharply worded ruling on Thursday, U.S. District Judge Mark Walker rebuked the DeSantis administration of trying to quash what he called constitutionally protected political speech. To keep it simple for the state of Florida, it's the First Amendment, stupid, wrote Walker, granting the request for a temporary restraining order. A hearing for a preliminary injunction is scheduled for later this month. The ruling puts a temporary halt to one of DeSantis' most brazen attempts to defeat Amendment 4, which would overturn the 6-week abortion ban he signed into law. On October 3rd, the Florida Department of Health sent letters threatening to criminally prosecute television stations if they did not stop running an ad that features a woman named Caroline who was diagnosed with brain cancer 2 years ago while pregnant with her second child. In the ad, the woman says Florida's 6-week abortion ban would have prevented her from receiving potentially life-saving abortion. In the letters, the department's then General Counsel, John Wilson, said the woman's claims were categorically false and that the message constitutes a sanitary nuisance under the state law that could put women's health and lives at risk if it continued to be broadcast. Oh, forget free speech. Wilson warned that if the television... Ron DeSantis is all over the fucking place. He's the asshole that is, it's what happened to freedom? We don't want to wear these masks. He's all over the place. On one hand, the government can't force you to wear a mask. On the other hand, they can stifle free expression. Wilson warned that if television stations did not take down the ads, they were committing a second-degree misdemeanor, which carries a sentence of up to 60 days in jail or fine up to $500. I'd pay the $500 and say, "Fuck you." It's an ad. We're making money from it. We're on TV. We can't make money between our shows unless we sell that space. Okay, and you can't. It's also restraint of trade. It's another thing it is.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Wilson abruptly resigned last week. We're talking about this government fascist. Writing a resignation letter obtained by the Times Herald that a man is nothing without his conscience. Okay, so he has a conscience about trying to shut down free speech? Is that what it is? It's become clear in recent days that I cannot join you on the road that lies before the agency, Wilson wrote. His resignation letter did not specifically mention the letters he sent to TV stations. Floridans Protecting Freedom, which is leading the Yes campaign on number 4, sued State Surgeon General Joseph Ladapo, claiming its right to free speech was being violated. The group sought a temporary restraining order. The Department of Health letters noted that the stations have a right to air political advertisements, but can't air false political advertisements. What it is false? Who decided these were false? Was any of it false? No, it hurt their field. It hurt DeSantis' field. No, they're going to defeat my anti-woman laws. The Department of Health letters noted that stations have a right to air political advertisements. They can't air false political advertisements that would likely have detrimental effect on the lives and health of pregnant women in Florida. All political fads can be declared false by anyone, for that matter. What the hell are you even talking about? By that logic, Walker wrote, any political viewpoint with which the state disagrees with is a fair game for censorship. The state can advocate against the amendment, but the First Amendment prohibits the state of Florida from trampling on a plaintiff's speech, Walker added. Department of Health spokesperson Jay Williams said Thursday that state law protects the life of a mother and includes exceptions for victims of rape, incest, and human trafficking. Opponents say uncertain over the state's law and threatening criminal prosecution mean that someone like Caroline may not have been able to get an abortion. Of course, when you say the law protects the life of the mother, try to get a doctor to agree to that, right? The doctors are the ones that are going, I'm not doing shit. I don't know what the law even fucking says. You know, the fact that these ads are unequivocally false and detrimental to public health in Florida, Williams said, is, I don't know. It's an ad for a political thing. False. That's in the eye of the beholder. The ruling followed a testing court hearing on Thursday in which Walker said the state was wasting this time with non-answers, the Florida Phoenix reported. Ryan Burns, a lawyer for the state, argued that Caroline's statement might dissuade women from seeking medical attention for a pregnancy complication. He compared it to the theoretical commercial stating that 911 emergency line is not working, according to Phoenix. Well, that's nonsense. Walker's restraining order was a critical initial victory, said Lauren Brenzel, campaign for the director of Yes on 4. The court has affirmed that we've known all along the government cannot silence the truth about Florida's extreme abortion ban, Brenzel said in a statement. So trying to shun speech you don't like is why the First Amendment exists in the first place. So good on this judge for telling Ron DeFascist to go pound sand. On UPI.com, as a report on the Secret Service investigation, as we're wrapping up the Friday news dump and getting all dumpy on you. This is from Clyde Hughes of UPI.com. Independent panel says Secret Service needs systematic changes after Defendant J. Trump assassination attempt. An independent Department of Homeland Security review of the Secret Service following a July assassination attempt against Defendant J. Trump found that the agency needs systematic changes. An independent band issued a 35-page, a scathing 35-page report on Thursday calling for systematic changes in the agency and the leadership. The attempt in Butler, Pennsylvania, allegedly injured Trump and left two people in the audience. It left two people in the audience during one of the former president's rallies dead. I thought it was only one person. Now it's two people? I heard it was only one. The report brought on by the Department of Homeland Security said the Secret Service is not performing it. Oh, the other person at the rally dead was the shooter. Right? That's right. So he's the second one. Got it. The shooter's dead, so he can't say anything about who put me up to this. The report brought on by the Department of Homeland Security said the Secret Service is not performing at an elite level. It needs to. And given its mission to protect the country's top leaders, including the president, the panel said that while the Secret Service rank and file have performed with bravery, selfishness, and willingness to serve, changes must be made immediately. Like what? The Secret Service, as an agency, requires fundamental reform to carry out its mission. The mission said in its report to the Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. Without that reform, the independent believes that Butler can happen and will happen again. The report said the Secret Service has become bureaucratic, complacent, and static, even though risks have multiplied and technology has evolved. The independent panel consisted of former Homeland Security Secretary Janet Napolitano, former Deputy Attorney General Mark Philippe, ex-Maryland State Lieutenant Dave Mitchell, and Fran Townsend, former Deputy National Security Advisor. The panel urged the Secret Service rebuild its leadership with people from outside the agency because it currently suffers from insular culture that issues that lack wider perspectives. It suffers from insular culture issues that lack wider perspectives. They're living in their silo, in other words, as what's the name would put it? Anderson Cooper would put it. They're in their silos. The report faults the Secret Service brass for failing to lead in security planning and executing that plan in Butler. The report cited 6 failures at the Trump July 13 rally, ranging from not securing the building, Thomas Matthew Cook's fired from despite its proximity and line of sight to the stage, communications issues that no one confronted the shooter even though he was spotted 90 minutes before the rally. Yeah, major fuck up, which makes me sound like it was staged. And I'm just saying, that shit don't happen unless it was staged. It's plain and simple. Somebody's hiding something. You can tell me it's failure, but that's a massive failure. When people in the crowd are going, "Hey, there's a guy there with a gun. You can do something about that?" And our Secret Service is going, "Yeah. He's a ticket taker. Yeah, that's it." These actions will be responsive only to the security failure that led to the July 13, 2024 assassination attempt, but importantly, to what independent review panel describes as systemic and fundamental issues that underlie those failures. So there's a story on the Secret Service, nothing real specific, just, failures. Failures of leadership, they say. My opinion is Trump doesn't pay his security, so the cops didn't really care about doing their job because they know that they're going to stiff the city. And the Secret Service does rely on the local police force for a great deal of their security. Anyway, back to you.
That's crazy.
I sent you a clip. Hopefully
you
got it. You played the whole thing, I guess.
Okay. Then let's go on to our culture news, which is about London's Elizabeth Line. Right? The tube has been, I think, for 5 years or something, maybe even 10 years, building a new line called the Elizabeth Line for the tube. And it's been finished, and it's won the best new architecture in Britain this year. This is from Oliver Wainwright on The Guardian. With its futuristic panels, airy tunnels, and elegantly ununified design, 73-mile addition to the tube is a worthy winner of the prestigious Sterling Prize and puts the rest of the creaking city network to shame. I mean, that's what happens when you build something new. It looks better than the stuff from, the 1960s or whenever. With the longest platforms, the biggest tunnels, and the fastest trains on the entire London Underground, the Elizabeth Line boasts a dizzying list of superlatives, carrying more people a day than any other train line in the country. It is now deemed to have the best design, too, being named as the winner of the 2024 RIBA Sterling Prize for the finest architecture in the UK. The competition was stiff, from the National Portrait Gallery in London to the renovation of the Park Hill estate in Sheffield, from a Dorset dairy farm conversion to a street of social housing in Hackney, and the 67-acre regeneration of King's Cross. Well, I had no idea they regenerated King's Cross. The Lizzie Line is a worthy winner, providing a dazzling demonstration that, for all the chaos surrounding HS2, Britain is still capable of pulling off gargantuan transport infrastructure projects with style and panache. Stepping off the escalators and entering its streamlined white tunnels is like being teleported to a parallel universe, worlds away from the rest of the creaking city tube network. From the airy, clutter-free concourse to the soft acoustic calm lighting and clear signage, every detail has been honed to make the passenger experience as simple and as stress-free as possible. It's a model of standardization and prefabrication, built with rare precision. Its effortless elegance spelling the fiendish complexity of coordinating the 73-mile-long endeavor and the transformative effect it had on the lives of millions. The Elizabeth Line is a triumph in architecture-led collaboration, offering a flawless, efficient, beautifully choreographed solution to inner-city transport, said RIBA President Muyiwa Oki, chair of the Sterling Prize jury. It rewrites the rules of accessible public transport and is a bold new standard for civic infrastructure, opening up the network and by extension London to everyone. Well, now everyone's going to be petitioning to get their stations redone because they're like, wait, our stations could look like this?
That's good.
Hey, give us
Provides
money.
jobs
I want
for,
whatever. I can't even think of a stop
for
right
artists
now.
and architects.
I can't even think of a stop right now that they could remake because I've only been to London 3 times. But
Birmingham.
No, I don't think there's a stop called the
London,
Birmingham
okay.
stop. There's
Soho.
lines. The Piccadilly line is like the most
Soho.
populated line, and I'm sure there's plenty of stations on the Piccadilly line that needs to be redesigned because they're oldest. I think the Piccadilly line is the oldest line. So they probably have a lot of old stations in there that look just run down. Prizes have been awarded to the line-wide design of the stations below ground level, led by Grimshaw Architects. Wow, they're going to get a lot of contracts now, with engineering by Atkins Realis, wayfinding by Maynard, and lighting by Equation. Look at that, 4-team architectural marvel. Different architects were responsible for each station above ground, with more mixed results. Uh-oh, some of the stations above ground aren't so great, huh? I guess he wrote another article. He was about how some of them don't look so good. So Oliver is very serious about his station architecture. Usually for the Architecture-centric award, the other consultants have been named as equal co-designers, reflecting the collaborative nature of an $18.6 billion endeavor, which led to a truly integrated result. While other tube stations are cluttered with signs and light fittings and added haphazardly over the years, well, I'm sure, give Elizabeth Line 50 years and it's going to look the same, I'm sure. The Elizabeth Line has condensed and rationalized everything into a unified whole. Service totems on concourses, inspired by the uplighter columns of Charles Holden's 1930s tube stations, integrate everything from lighting and cameras to signage and speakers, as do seamless panels above the platform edge screens, all easily accessible from maintenance. Crowding together all the gubbins means that the full volume of the tunnels can be expressed with no need for suspended ceilings and walls to hide the services. The result feels extraordinarily spacious with broad concourse that melt into the wide cross passages all clad with sinuous white panels, as if the entire line has been molded from a single substance. Alright, Oliver, we get it. You love the new station. He's like... the British ability to just add more words to explain how much you love something, you know? But supposedly, I guess go see it for yourself because it's supposedly really great looking. But For all the ingenuity on show, it's not perfect. The focus on line-wide consistency underground and diverse contextual design on street level seems back to front. It would make more sense for the stations to be consistent and easily recognizable on the street, like the gleaming oxblood red tiles and arched windows of Leslie Green's iconic Edwardian tube stations, and then different on platform level, so you don't think you're in the same place all the time. That makes sense. Like, where am I? Oh, I'm on this stop because it has this color theme or this design. Whereas if the whole thing is this white kind of whatever was he saying, made out of, construed off of the same material like a tube, you're like, where am I? I don't know what stop I'm on. Where's the, oh, okay. I don't know where I am. That's true, because when I'm in Amsterdam taking the subway there, I'm like, oh, I don't know where I am. Oh, wait, I know this one. I know why I'm at Waterloo, because Waterloo has this weird thing and whatever. It was famous or whatever. Easier to, I'm just saying it's easier to see if I agree with what he's saying is what I'm trying to say. Knowing what stop you're on inside of a tunnel underground is probably better for your mind than up overground, where everything already looks different. The Lizzie's line's efficient blur of beige could do with more flashes of color, like Eduardo Polizio's mosaics at Toneham Court Road, or Annabelle Gray's enamel panels at Marble Arch, or the slanting indigo tile columns of Will Alsop's North Greenwich. Check out all those stations for great architectural design, according to Oliver. Instead, public art is confined to a few bolt-on baubles above ground. Similarly, the marvel of these cavernous underground cathedrals soon fades away when you leave central London. As the line makes its way to the outer reaches of the capital above ground, an immense amount of design intelligence was lavished on the central stations, but the peripheral stops feel distinctly second class. They may sport the same regal purple roundels, but the banal boxes of Ilford and Ealing Broadway have little in the way of award-winning architecture. Was it too much to hope the line's sterling prize quality could extend beyond Zone 2? I guess it was. Because that's where all the money is, in the middle. Look at all these business people in the central London getting all their fancy architect. Oh, you live out in the freaking Zone 4? Yeah, you can have a shed made out of wood for your tube station. I'm sure that's not what it looks like, but Oliver obviously has some very high expectations for infrastructural architecture. But I guess check it out. At least, I don't know. I guess I'll have to go to London at some point to walk around the new line just to look at it, because I love infrastructure. If I was smart enough, I'd be an engineer, but I don't really want to do math. Pass calculus. I didn't even pass my calculus class, so probably shouldn't become an architecture. I will probably kill somebody with a collapsed bridge.
I don't think engineers use calculus.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they need math at least, and it's been a while, so it's a bit too late for me.
Geometry, not calculus.
Well, trigonometry.
Structures and forms. Trigonometry is, I mean, that's more or less just
either way
solving.
It's just a small little hobby that I like, looking at how things look, and I agree that it looks pretty good, but it's unfortunate with the outlying stations not sharing the same sentiment. That's my culture story. On to this day in history.
All right, let's bring this ship into the shore. Bring it into port for this week.
Hopefully with no cocaine on board.
Hopefully, yeah. Hopefully with no cocaine and no Canadian gold medalist. Who's hiding currently in Mexico somewhere. In 1467, on this day, October 18th, Isabella I, Queen of Castile, married Ferdinand II, who was King of Aragon. In 1851, American author Herman Melville's classic, The Moby Dick, was first published as The Whale in London. In 1854, the Ostend Manifesto was declared, by which 3 U.S. diplomats communicating to Secretary of State William L. Marcy advocated U.S. seizure of Cuba from Spain. Well, they advocated in 1854, and it actually happened about 46 years later. In 1898, speaking of which, 1898, Puerto Rico was turned over to the United States following the Spanish-American War. which Cuba was also extricated from Spain, let's say. 1922, the British Broadcasting Company Limited was established to be replaced by the British Broadcasting Corporation in 1927. So happy birthday to BBC. And they both cited an article earlier today that I decided not to read because it was a both-sider article. And I was like, oh, BBC's catching that disease now. 1926, American singer and songwriter Chuck Berry was born. So happy 99th birthday to Chuck Berry. He was one of the most popular and influential performers in rhythm and blues and rock and roll music in the 1950s, 60s, and 70s. Been called the Poet Laureate of rock and roll. He was the first rock and roll guy to actually have lyrics that were pretty interesting and smart. And
about something other than my girl left me and
lyric.
I missed my truck or whatever.
That's right. Chuck Berry was a craftsman of songs. In 1931, American inventor Thomas Edison, who was especially known for his critical role in introducing the modern age of electricity, died in West Orange, New Jersey. So Thomas Edison, inventor of a lot of stuff, died in this day. 1931, also on that same day in 1931, Al Capone was convicted of federal income tax evasion and was subsequently sentenced to 11 years in prison. So the day never existed where Thomas Edison was alive and Al Capone was in prison. So there you go. Those things happened at the same time. 1939, Lee Harvey Oswald was born. As Britannica.com is keeping up with their, you need all about the killers' birthdays. Lee Harvey Oswald, the accused assassin of U.S. President John F. Kennedy, was born in New Orleans. Notice I say accused assassin. Whoa, what do they know? Anyway, I think he was pretty guilty. Quite guilty, as a matter of fact. Oh no, he was just a tourist hanging out in the book depository with a rifle. And the president ended up with his blade spraddled everywhere, 100 yards away. Coincidence. Not saying he wasn't part of the conspiracy, but he was definitely guilty.
He definitely shot somebody.
Britannica for both sides. Yeah. Accused assassin, they say. I guess he never had a trial because he was shot before he went to trial. 1956, tennis player Martina Navratilova was born in Prague. She dominated the sport in the late 20th century, winning 18 Grand Slam singles titles. Martina Navratilova. Now an American citizen. 1961, the acclaimed musical film West Side Story was released in American theaters. It won 10 Academy Awards, including that for Best Picture. It was an adaptation of a Broadway play that was released in American theaters. In 1988, the TV show Roseanne premiered, starring Roseanne Barr and John Goodman. Became hugely popular, noted for deriving humor from the everyday struggles of middle-class families and for tackling controversial issues. 2007, after 8 years of self-imposed exile, Benazir Bhutto, who as the two-time Prime Minister of Pakistan from 88 to 90 and 93 to 96, was the first woman leader of a Muslim nation in modern history, returned to her home country, and hours later, she was nearly killed when her motorcade was bombed in Karachi. She was assassinated in December. So, bad move going back to Pakistan. In 1867, our featured event, at 1867 on this day, Alaska Purchase was approved. Well, if Vladimir Putin had anything to say about it, that would still belong to the Russian Empire. After much opposition, a deal negotiated by U.S. Secretary of State William Seward for the U.S. purchase of the Russian colony of Alaska. I got a cough. Hold on a second. I'm going to be coughing. Getting a cough switch here. You probably heard my
combo.
Vocal fry coming on. Oh boy. Woof. That was a bad one. The U.S. Purchased Alaska from Russia, and on this day was approved on this day in 1967, the U.S. flag was flown over to the capital of Sitka, which was the original capital of Russian Alaska. Russia just said, that thing's way across the Bering Strait. We don't want to mess with it anymore. First of all, they have to go all the way across Siberia to get there. Think about it. This is before air travel.
Yeah.
They're like, what's there? Of course, later, not too long after that, was a gold rush, and about 50 years later, the oil rush. So Alaska turned out to be quite valuable. Our feature biography is Pierre Elliott Trudeau. A lot of news about Canada today. Well, it's Pierre Trudeau's birthday, the father of the current Prime Minister. What the hell is his first name? Justin Trudeau. There you go.
Yeah.
So it's Pierre Trudeau's birthday. He was born October 18th, 1919 in Montreal, Canada, and died September 28, 2000 in Montreal, Canada. And apparently Canada has a monarchy. So anyway, well, they had one when they had England, but they're not part of the UK. They still have a monarchy because the president's son gets to be president. Although we had that with the Bushes, didn't we? Other featured birthdays today besides Chuck Berry, we have George C. Scott, American actor, played Patton, among other things. Also in Dr. Strangelove. 1939's birthday of American football coach Mike Ditka. We already covered Lee Harvey Oswald. American skier's birthday, Lindsey Vohn's birthday, born in 1984. So Lindsey Vonn turning 40 today. Happy 40th birthday to American skier Lindsey Vonn. Gold medalist. She won a bunch of medals. And what day is it today? Yes, it's National Mammography Day. So
Thanks, those guys.
Get them looked at. It's National No Beard Day. I'm not following that trend. I really don't feel like spending an hour and a half shaving.
Been a while since I've seen you shave.
Chocolate.
An hour and a half shaving. No way.
You know what?
Maybe...
I will trim this thing because it's already getting out of control, getting haywire. National Chocolate Cupcake Day. Don't get beard hair all over your cupcake while you're shaving. Little sprinkles, right? Those are sprinkles. I'm entertaining myself. International Legging Day today. It's International Legging Day. Did you know that is what it is? It's also National Exascale Day. What the hell does that mean? I had to look it up. It looked like some kind of a... Okay. I had to look it up. National Exascale Day celebrates the scientists and researchers who make breakthrough discoveries in medicine, materials sciences, energy, and beyond to help us on the supercomputers in the world.
The ones we're developing the...
Exascale Day
what was
celebrate?
it called? The new computer system that doesn't run off a binary. Can't remember what it's. Quarks?
Quantum computers?
Quarks computers.
Oh, quarks computers. Yeah. Be quantum.
I think they're called
Quarks
quantum computers, but they run off of quarks, which is this,
That's
I don't even know how to explain what quarks are.
Quark is it's a molecule that's not big, not even the size of an atom. That's what a quark is.
It's very small.
It's a
and they're trying to use
molecule.
that as something to power computers instead of binary numbers.
We'd like to say that National Exascale Day celebrates those who keep asking what if, why not, and what's next. And with the advanced technology to attain the answers. So long as they're the right answers.
Every wrong answer
means the computer, is there a God? The computer will say. What?
Every wrong answer means the right answer is closer.
Or completely the other direction. At least you got the wrong answers out of the way.
Yeah.
Just ask a computer if there's a God, and the computer will say, sure, why not? What do I care? Anyway, October 18th, 2024. That's all your news for October 18th, 2024 on Before Chocolate Cupcakes.
All right, this has been Ali here from the Netherlands. No UN official International Day today. I guess I should cover one on Saturday or Sunday. When is? I think one on Sunday. Sunday is going to be World Statistics Day. So on this Sunday, on the 20th of October, make sure to celebrate the importance of statistics, all aspects of social and economic life. They help us understand how things are working, how we can improve things, and what's going on. by doing some statistics. What is the chance this will happen, or what's the average of this, or all sorts of crazy stuff. So celebrate those people doing data analysis and cracking those numbers, so that all those politicians can say, I don't care what the stats say, I'm gonna do this anyways. Because let's be honest, that does happen. You ask all those people to brainstorm, oh, how will this affect people? And then they go, okay, well, thanks for telling me. Anyways, we'll see you next week, not tomorrow, on Mucking Fun Day, where we'll cover any of the news that happened over the weekend on Before Coffee. Make sure you are subscribed and notified so that you know when we go live. And of course, like this video if you enjoyed learning about all the stuff that you don't need to worry about anymore, because we told you about it. Now for our mic drop moment.
I got my little girl. My fiance,
As I was saying, Chuck Berry is 99 today. Born in...
place to go.
Oh, really? He wasn't even that old. He's not even that old. I mean, that's pretty old, but I thought he would be like 120. It's because of the black and white. The black and white messes you up and makes you think these things happened way long time ago, in the 1800s.
I felt the kiss, the turn of a mind. My curiosity running wild.
But not only was he a great lyricist, but he was also a great performer. Nothing better than, you know, enjoying the music that you're playing.
To tell her the way I feel. So I told her softly and sincere. She leaned and whispered in my ear.
The classic lean into the mic.
No particular place to go.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.